The book of Jeremiah opens with a powerful declaration from God. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 to 5, we read, "The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb I knew you, before you were born I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." These verses offer a profound glimpse into the heart of God and his intimate knowledge of us. They reveal that God's plan for our lives predates our very existence. These verses are not just for prophets like Jeremiah, but for all of us. They speak to the core of our identity and purpose. God knew each of us before we were even formed in our mother's womb. He had a plan and a purpose for our lives before we took our first breath. This knowledge is both humbling and awe-inspiring. The implications of God's foreknowledge are profound. It means that our lives are not a product of chance or circumstance. We are not cosmic accidents, but rather carefully crafted masterpieces, each with a unique role to play in the grand tapestry of God's creation. We are known by the Creator of the universe, loved and cherished before we even had a name. This understanding should fill us with a sense of purpose and hope. We are not defined by our past mistakes, our present circumstances, or the expectations of others. We are defined by the one who formed us in the womb, the one who knows us better than we know ourselves. The phrase, "I set you apart," in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 speaks of God's intentional choice. It signifies a divine selection, a setting apart for a specific purpose. Just as God called Jeremiah to be a prophet to the nations, he calls each of us to a unique and significant calling. This calling might not always be glamorous or publicly recognized. It might involve serving in our local church, raising a family, pursuing a particular career, or using our gifts and talents to bless others. Whatever the form, our calling is an integral part of God's plan. Being set apart implies a distinction, a separation from the ordinary. It means that we are called to live differently, to pursue holiness and righteousness in a world that often celebrates the opposite. It means standing out from the crowd, not for our own glory, but for the glory of God. This setting apart is not a burden, but a privilege. It is an invitation to partner with God in his redemptive work in the world. It is a call to live lives that reflect his character and advance his kingdom. Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 4 to 5 has profound implications for our understanding of the sanctity of life. If God knows us and sets us apart before we are even born, it underscores the inherent value and dignity of every human life, from the moment of conception. Every life is precious to God, created in his image and worthy of protection and respect. This truth compels us to stand up for the unborn, to care for the vulnerable, and to oppose any ideology or practice that devalues human life. God's pre-birth knowledge also challenges us to view every person we encounter through the lens of eternity. Each person we meet, regardless of their background, beliefs or behavior, is someone whom God has known and loved since before the foundation of the world. This perspective should shape our interactions with others, fostering compassion, empathy, and a desire to see them come to know the one who has loved them from eternity. Section 4. Hearing the Call and Overcoming Fear. When God called Jeremiah, his initial response was one of fear and inadequacy. He said, "Ah, sovereign Lord, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child." Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 6. It is natural to feel inadequate or overwhelmed when we consider God's call on our lives. We may doubt our abilities, question our worthiness, or fear the challenges that lie ahead. However, God's response to Jeremiah is an encouragement to us all. Do not say, "I am only a child." You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 7. God's call is not dependent on our strength or abilities, but on his power at work within us. He promises to equip us for the tasks he sets before us. He will provide the words to speak, the strength to persevere, and the wisdom to navigate the challenges that lie ahead. Section 5. The assurance of God's presence and support. God's call is never a command to go it alone. He promises to be with us every step of the way, providing guidance, strength, and protection. In Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 8, God reassures Jeremiah, "Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord." This promise is not limited to Jeremiah, but extends to all who follow God's call. We never have to face our fears or challenges alone. God is with us, fighting for us and empowering us to overcome every obstacle. When we feel afraid or inadequate, we can cling to the truth of God's presence and power. We can draw strength from His promises and find peace in His unwavering faithfulness. Section 6. Embracing our unique calling and purpose. Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 4 and 5 teaches that God has a unique and specific plan for each of our lives. He has gifted us with talents, passions, and experiences that equip us for our calling. Our responsibility is to seek His guidance and to surrender our lives to His will. Discovering our calling is not always a linear or straightforward process. It may involve seasons of exploration, seeking wise counsel, and stepping out in faith, even when we don't have all the answers. The key is to cultivate a sensitive heart, one that is attuned to God's voice and responsive to His leading. As we seek Him diligently, He will reveal His plans to us and guide us along the path He has prepared for us. Section 7. Living a life of purpose and impact. When we embrace our God-given calling, we step into a life of purpose and impact. We become vessels of His love, grace, and truth in the world. Our lives become a testament to His faithfulness and power. We may not always see the full impact of our obedience, but we can trust that God is using us to accomplish His purposes. He uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things, and our willingness to surrender to His plan allows Him to work through us in mighty ways. May we all be encouraged by the truth of Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 4 and 5. May we live each day with the confidence that we are known, loved, and empowered by the God who created us for a purpose. May our lives bring glory to Him and make a difference in the world around us.